This is as far as you go. No more. This is it.
Hey, yo, welcome back, friends, to episode 27, part 2 of the ridiculously numbered system of In Madness Pod. Happy In Madness Monday. It's Shawn the Butcher here with Vertebrae33. How the hell you doing?
I'm good, Shawn. I'm doing really good. I'm receding. If you're on YouTube, I'm receding into the darkness more and more on every episode. Pretty soon it'll just be a blank. You'll just be talking to an all black screen.
Vertebrae thrives to be a real life Bruce Wayne and just live in the Bat Cave, but never come out and do the Batman stuff. Just stay in the Bat Cave and work on the computers.
I ruined it by having an Instagram live with you from Philadelphia. So that kind of ruined the mystique.
I can't believe out of all the and it's funny, my girlfriend left a great comment on our In Madness page. It said mission sandwich, no. Philadelphia handshake. And I was like,
yeah. How'd that happen?
We gotta
Still
get
no
our
sandwich.
Shout out to Mission Sandwich. Pick up the Hail Shawn sandwich. Thank you for joining us on In Madness Monday. Follow us on the socials at In Madness Pod, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Threads. Hit us in the mail sack. Next episode, the sack is engorged. It needs to be relieved, so we will be reading your emails if you want to write to us about any of our previous episodes, any of the movies we've covered, any of the 0.5s that we have done where we just talk about whatever the hell we want, or if there's anything you'd like to talk about that we haven't brought up, and put it on our radar. Email us inmadnesspod@gmail.com. Subscribe to the YouTube page so you could see Vertebrae33's mug. What mug you got today?
Oh, so I've got it's a like kind of a rustic looking. It's hard to see it on the screen, but
he themes. It seems like you're theming the
earthen toned and cracked in the middle. It looks like it's carved. That's what I got going on. And Shawn, I've noticed that we've been getting every once in a while. I'll check the stats, and I noticed that there's new people listening that haven't been, like, it's gone up, and that's really incredible. And if you're just joining us as your first episode, I want you to stop listening and go back to part 1 of this movie, because I don't know why you started with part 2. And we'll, you can go back and we'll tell you what I was thinking we should every once in a while refresh people's minds on the milking of the alpacas moment, and our love of the movie Seven. And you can jump in at any time you want to any of these episodes.
There are bits that run through every episode. You don't have to be caught up on it, but yes. But when it happens, it's funny. But we haven't had a 7-bit in Prey yet. Thankfully.
No. Although I don't. How many people were?
How many animals die?
Oh, or how many people were with Tabe and his crew?
Oh man,
what was the number?
Our connection to 7 is we try to connect every movie to the 7 deadly sins. Check out our 7th episode about 7, and our milking of the alpacas moment, which happens in every single episode, is the point where everything changes and your full attention is drawn and the shit hits the fan and you're like, what's going on? For Barbarian, it's for me, it was the lady smashing the dude's head against the wall. And for 7, what was the milking of the alpacas moment in 7? Was it John Doe? I think it might have been John Doe. I don't know. I don't remember.
There was a movie where you had like 150.
The Mist. I have 150 milking of the alpacas moments in The Mist, because The Mist is one of the greatest movies of all time, and consistently crazy shit keeps happening. Check out our Mist episode. Make sure you also listen to the In Madness Spotify playlist. Every single time we bring up some type of song or anything involving a movie or has a sample from the movie, we add it to this playlist. It is 4+ hours long. You could put it on and just vibe to crazy different music, from Dillinger Escape Plan to Elton John. Happy In Madness Monday if you're listening on Monday, when we drop a brand new episode every week, no matter what happens. Rain, sleet, hail, snow, passing out at Sanguisuga Bog shows. It doesn't matter. We are here giving you brand new episodes every single Monday. And inmadness.com if you want to cop our brand new In Madness t-shirts, 2 different styles, 2 different art pieces, 4 different ways you can get it. inmadness.com. Get yourself a t-shirt. We have a milking of the alpacas t-shirt
Mhm.
because it is a standout bit on this show. Me and Vertebrae usually have the same ones, but I love it when we have different milking of the alpacas moments.
Yeah, and then sometimes, even though it's our bit, I'll like sort of forget about it because get myself so into the film that we're doing, and then I'm like, ah, crap, Sean's gonna have his milking of the alpacas moment, because if I'm that into the movie, it's almost like there's a few of them, or certain movies it's easier than others. It's pretty like, okay, this is when the whole movie turns. But awesome. We appreciate everyone listening. This episode is our second part of the movie Prey. So just quickly, Prey is released April 5th, 2022, and much to my delight on Hulu, so I don't have to leave my couch to watch it. It was very exciting. And um you know our love of this movie comes through our first part, and you can go back and listen to the first part of this where we get into all kind of the details and a little of the production details and some gnarly bits. But Sean left us off.
So just to recap, it's 1719. That's a long, long time ago. We got these
Mhm.
ancient tribes people living their life. They're hunting. A predator has been dropped off by a large ship to do the same. Our main character, Nadu, wants to hunt, but isn't being taken seriously by anybody. Her mom, her brother, the tribes people, because she's a girl. She's smart, but still has some hurdles to get over. She failed to kill a lion, which snatched one of the dudes from the tribe, but she saved him with her medicine. But she's getting better with her custom axe after finding footprints
Mm.
with her custom axe harpoon she made. She's also on the trail of the predator after finding its footprints and seeing strange lights in the sky and in the woods. Nadu has decided she's going to show everyone what's up and hunt this thing herself. On her journey, she encounters a bear, which her and her trusty sidekick dog try to take on, but all comes to a stop when the bear comes face to face with the predator. And we last left you on our previous episode with my milking of the alpacas moment, where the predator kills this bear, drenching itself in the bear's blood as Nadu watches in horror and narrowly makes her escape.
And so, Sean, this is exactly why we make a great team, because you just caught everybody up in like a minute, and I was like, hey, we watched Prey and we got up halfway through, and now we're going to talk about Prey again. Prey again. That was that without you, that would have been my whole summary.
I don't
And I
think
love that.
I don't think I used to do recaps for our part twos, and I realized that I should be at least doing a little bit of a
I think it's
recap.
great.
So we're learning.
I
A
feel
year and a
total
half in, we're learning.
I feel totally caught up. It's 1,000 times better than what I was saying. So it's
Hell yeah, that's
amazing.
what's up.
Let's go. Let's
Thanks for
go.
joining us on Ib Madness Pod, episode 27, part 2, Prey. Nadu is trekking through the woods and she's surprised by the tribe from the village her brother sent out looking for her. She tells them she saw what left the tracks. It wasn't a bear, it was like a monster. The boys laugh at her. You saw a monster from a children's story. She tells them it fought and killed the bear with bare hands easily, and they ask why it didn't kill her. She goes to leave, but they insist she's going back with them. She refuses. Then her and the head tribes dudes start fighting, and for the time being, she has the upper hand till another dude gets involved and they knock her on her ass, and from behind, we hear it. The predator clicking.
Mm.
I can't do it anymore. And we see it camouflage in the trees. It's watching. They drag Nadu along with them and all stop to have a sit, drink some water, take a leak. But then they hear it. The predator clicking in the trees. Birds fly away, which alert the tribesmen.
And that they refer, I don't even know how to say it. It's like Mupizzi or something they reference, and that's that like monster, or the kids story monster. And they're a feared monster that was said to hunt down and punish disobedient children. So that's what they're referencing there. This film does a phenomenal job of rolling in, well researched facts about Comanche culture and life, and everything is very well um, recreated. And they had a consultant on the film's producer, Jane Myers, who was Comanche and was half Comanche, and she was um, brought all of that stuff in and give it that authenticity that they have. So it's not like this film. If this film was made 40 years ago, they would just be guessing, and there'd be a lot of weird stereotypes. And this is all very accurate. And the coolest thing is that they're rolling in their folklore and their belief systems into this film alongside of this really badass fight a monster movie. And I think that just gives it a nice base to rest on and a good foundation to build, because then when we get insane, we at least have this cool base to work from, and it's beautifully shot and well acted. And I'm shocked that Amber Midthunder is not a bigger star than she is. I thought that this movie would really catapult her, and maybe it still will. It was only it's only 2 years old. But after I watched this movie, not only did I immediately want to see a sequel to this movie, which I don't always want to do, but I wanted to know more. But I also thought, okay, we're going to see her in a lot of stuff moving forward. And we might, production kind of was slowed down, and then there was the strike and all of that. So there's still a possibility. And I know she's been in a bunch of other things before, but I thought this was a breakout performance.
The tribesmen pull out their bow and arrows. They're waiting, they're aiming, but it turns out to be some possums. They shoot and kill one. They laugh at Nadu for looking so terrified. She asks what drove the possums to them, kind of like the rats in Cloverfield when they all started running towards them. One of the dudes laughs and goes to retrieve it. He picks it up and laughs. He does. The rest of the tribe laughs as well until wham! The triangle predator laser sighting is aimed at the kid, who stops in shock and drops the possum. The rest of the crew looks alarmed. One of the lasers points right in the kid's eye, and pop, pop, pop. 3 arrows shoot and kill this dude. He drops dead right in front of everybody. The other boys begin getting ready for battle, and we see the arrows getting pulled out of the dead kid's body. One of the dudes from the tribe fires his arrow at the camouflage predator and hits it. It rips the arrow out of its arm, and we see this cool stream of neon green predator blood come out. It begins to uncamouflage itself, and we see it wearing a mask. It looks like an animal skull, and underneath the mouth is sort of exposed, and it lets out this scream and squares up to do battle.
And this predator, they refer to, there's a couple of things. One, they refer to it as the feral predator, and also this mask that's on it that you're talking about is made from the skull of a river ghost, which was in Predators. There was a creature in Predators that had this skull, and you see it. It was that creature that had the other organisms living in it, and it's the skull from that. So that's a nice nod to Predators, which came out in 2010. And it doesn't have, we don't see it with the helmet, we don't see it with the tubes, we don't see it with extra armor, and it's also using, like we talked about before, while it's taking out animals in the same way it would take them out, it's now using arrows. It certainly cheats a lot later on. And there's a part when I was watching this with my wife where she just yelled out "cheater." But
I feel like the
it's,
camouflage is a big cheat code.
yes, for sure. And I think that it's going to play along with the way it's attacking, its prey, I guess, in this case, but to a point. And then if it feels like it's losing, it's going to use other stuff and get more elaborate, because we start to see other devices as this goes along. But I do like the idea that it's starting in a way where it's like almost being honorable. Like, I'm going to fight you sort of in the way that you're fighting me. And then again, I think it hits us. What's weird is we see the ship, and then we see the ship again. So they just drop, like somebody just drove him there and
Like
dropped him off.
ET, it's like later.
Yeah. So he just then calls them on his little wrist gimmick or something, and they come back and get him.
Or maybe they'll be like, we'll be back for you in 10 years. Let's see how you do, or something.
Yeah, like how long do they stay? Are they supposed to be there for a long period of time?
How long do predators live? Do they live to like the age 700 or something? Like, can they exist for a long time?
Yeah, and then what is is this their rite of passage to go out, like how hers is to go and fight the lion and come back? Is this the predator's rite of passage? Just got to go out and collect as many skulls in a period of time?
Now all I'm thinking is of the old predators, like ancient samurais, so like old predators with like gray dreadlocks and like the long like Kill
Yeah,
Bill beard, and they're
yeah,
just like super old and rickety predators because they got it. Yeah, yeah. If they age, yeah.
yeah. I mean, maybe this is a new planet. It's the first time they're going there. This is their rite of passage. They continue to age. Do they have like a training thing? Do they just send them out? Like, I don't want to see all of their culture, but now you've got me wanting to see like really old.
Old predator.
Yeah, like super old. Maybe like that's the predator where it invades like an old folks home
Yeah,
and it's just
yeah.
there and
Poor old predator.
it's just like so slow. Like all the kills are like it has to
No,
take a
yeah,
break
exactly. You're like, this
afterwards.
is exactly what you were saying. We don't need to see all this. These
And you
poor
know what, Sean? Maybe in the wrist device, instead of the explosive thing, it's like the pill thing where it has like Monday, Tuesday,
yeah.
Wednesday,
I have
Thursday.
one of those. Or just
And the old
morphine,
predator could
immediate
just
morphine. Yeah,
yeah, like it just goes in and like, oh, don't forget to take your glaucoma meds. Don't
yeah.
forget, you
The
know.
cholesterol, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Predator, as expected, whoops all these kids' asses. He cuts off one dude's arm. He rips his head off. He right in front of Naru. Then the other kid attacks and for a second has the upper hand when he stabs Predator through the foot with a spear, causing another cool, huge burst of neon green blood to splash out. He knocks the kid away against a giant tree trunk and picks up his Predator spear. The kid lets out a scream and Predator hits the kid simultaneously in the chest with his spear, pinning him in the tree trunk and also cuts his legs off. And Predator lets out a scream right in his face.
Mm.
He then sets his sights on Nadu. She runs out of the woods into this enormous open field with no coverage whatsoever. She's running but gets tripped and notices it's another kid from the tribe. He tells her, shh. Nadu
Mm.
and the kid are using signs to communicate, stay silent and invisible. However, in Predator vision, we can clearly see their heads in the grass, so it doesn't even matter. The
Yeah,
kid,
and
kid
this grass, Sean, just to cut you off for a second, they planted this grass like for the production so that they could have this certain type of high grass for the scene. So they sort of planted it in advance and let it grow, and then we're able to film it there, which is really cool. We ran into that in Signs too. They did some planting in advance of filming. I thought that was really neat.
this also makes for one of my favorite shots in this entire goddamn movie.
Hmm.
The kid pulls his bow and arrow tight and aims and says, "We have him." And then Naru sees the laser sight pointed directly at the kid's head and says, "No, he has us." She pulls the kid down. Predator arrow whizzes right past his head. And now, once again, the chase is on.
Dawn.
The kids are running like crazy through this big open field. We get the bird's eye view shot from above. They are running, and behind them, you just see grass flattening because camouflage Predator is chasing them.
Hmm.
Predator throws something like a predator axe or something, and it strikes the kid, and Predator jumps on top of him and starts slicing and dicing him to pieces. You just see blood shooting out like a sprinkler. Again, covering the camouflage Predator with blood, and we see Naru running. Behind her, a partially blood-soaked camouflage Predator is chasing right behind her. Again, we get the bird's eye view shot. Naru is running, and behind her, again, the Predator is camouflage running, so the grass is flattening, but now it is also covered in the kid's blood, so it's leaving a trail of blood as it's running.
Hmm.
Naru gets a leg caught in the same type of trap her dog got its tail in earlier. Predator approaches her, picks up the chain, sees she's caught in the trap, and's probably thinking, well, this ain't mine. This ain't fair. What is this? And from deep in the woods, out come a group of men speaking French. We
Hmm.
see the leader, some angry husky fucker smoking a cigar. They find Nadu in the trap. They knock her out and bring her back to their camp. Now, I
And
will
these
tell you,
French. Oh, go
yeah,
ahead.
these,
Go ahead.
these French guys, I have subtitles the entire movie, but when these guys are speaking French, there's no goddamn subtitles. So I don't
Yeah, I
know what they
know.
say. So
I
I'm kind of
know.
just figuring or assuming everything that they say.
Yeah, and I wonder when we did Die Hard, it was just like it said like German speaking. It didn't say like what what it actually was. And this is interesting. So we get that trap. These are fur traders. We saw the skin buffalo. So we certainly get this dichotomy between the Native Americans who are going to use every part of the animal and honor the land and live amongst other creatures, and these guys that just show up and are like, yeah, we just want the fur, leave the rest of them dead in the field, and we don't care, and let's move on to the next one. And this is 1719, and by like the 1800s, like buffalo were like all but like kind of wiped out. Like there's just a, there's no patience, there's no what else could we do, can we use this meat for something else. They just have their quick thinking about it, and no sort of honoring of the land that they live on, and the ecosystem that they have. And we still have that same problem right now.
Mankind at its finest. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really no different. You could probably fill in their French speak with just words from a political speech right now, and
Billionaire corporations. Yeah.
it'd be the same thing. But
What a world.
yeah, but yeah, these are not good. These are not good dudes. These are not nice guys.
They try to be. Well,
Yeah.
some of them. She wakes
Yeah.
up in a cage, her legs shoot up. They also have her dog. Now who sees the leader smoking the cigar, figures out these are the dudes who killed the buffalo. He tries poking her with a stick. She scratches his hand. He gets annoyed and gets a translator who asks Nadu what she saw. The man tells her he thinks the creature is a hunter looking for the strongest beast. Ask her what she knows and hands her what looks to be a leaf with neon green glowing predator blood on it.
Mhm.
He tells her it killed everyone she was with, and she says, no, it didn't kill everyone. The angry leader man pulls Nadu's brother out of the cage and takes a knife and cuts him diagonally down his whole torso like Sagat from Street Fighter, but also like Billy Badass in the original Predator.
Yes, a nice little nod to that. And you would certainly think that Billy, if he's a reincarnation or he's honoring that spirit in that moment in Predator, he's kind of emulating that as he heads into his final stand against Predator.
We cut to Nadu and her brother tied to a tree as bait as the members of the French crew are waiting, aiming, searching for the predator. Her brother asks, the thing the white men are chasing, is that what you're tracking? She says yes, and he laughs and says, and that's what you chose for your big hunt? And tied up as bait, about to die, they both share a laugh, brother and sister. It's a nice, touching moment.
And this is one of those scenes we're coming on that's, there's a lot of, one of the cool things about this film is it's very dirty looking. And I know that's funny to say about a film that's set in 1719, but there's a lot of these films that have been very clean. This has, if you notice, there's a lot of dust, there's snow towards the end, there's lots of, kind of debris in the air or smoke, and then we get this cool setting of this part of the forest was burned. I assume. Was this?
Yeah.
Do we know how?
No, we don't. But it does look like it because it's just bare branches,
right? And it's kind of still smoldering. So it's interesting. We certainly listen. We get her putting out her fire in the morning after her camp, and then we get this area here. Maybe we're led to believe that hey, the fur traders are there, and the little fire started and burned a section, and they don't care. Or was the predator there and took somebody else out? Because remember, he took out the whole crew. The guy tells him, and he shows the leaf with the thing on it. So maybe this is where he took them out, and that's why they brought them back there. And he used some, more advanced weaponry that we see soon. But it just is really makes for some really beautiful shots, and we get different looks. And when you watch it again, Shawn, just look for kind of dust and different particles floating. Even when we see the predators kind of always stuff in front of him, muddying it up. Amber Midthunder, her hair is a mess. All the characters are dirty and grimy. These fur traders are very dirty and grimy. It's just really cool to see them living in this deep environment. And this is a very cool setting right here.
We see one of the white dudes looking with like a telescope behind him. A man on a horse seems to get cut in half and falls in two separate pieces off the horse. The two men watching, aiming, see all the horses run away and look behind them. They see the whole platoon of their dudes just sliced and diced, dead. They start freaking out, and Camouflage Predator approaches them. We hear his retractable Wolverine claw pop out, and since they only speak in French, and there's no subtitles. I don't know what anybody said, but I do know one French word, and it's the one that this dude says, which is merde, which I think is shit. The man runs down toward where Naru and her brother are tied up. Her brother knows Predator is coming. As the man is running away, we hear the Predator's spear whiz by. It takes the dude's head off and pierces right through a tree. Naru and her bro try to free themselves, and the Predator uncamouflages itself and is slowly approaching them. Her brother tells him they are bait. Naru says that's not how it hunts. It doesn't want us that way. She tells him she was caught in the trap. It saw her. It came right up to her and then left. It didn't see her as a threat. Her brother tells her how he killed the lion. He used her plan. The tree, she weakened it. She could have finished it off. She tells him she doesn't know if this thing can be killed. And we get the classic callback line, Vertebrae. Do you want to hit it?
No, you're the best at these. Come on, Shawn.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Yes. And what's cool is there's a few of these in the movie, but it doesn't feel like it's like it feels like it's natural when it's happening. Like it doesn't it's cool callback, but it doesn't ruin anything. And did we get before this, we see the Predator with like his hand and some of like the ash?
Yeah.
That was right before this, right? Where he's almost like breathing in the ash.
Yeah.
That was interesting too, because I didn't know what that was about. I couldn't help but think like sometimes you'll get like football players that'll pick up a piece of the grass as they're running out to the field, or you get LeBron James who does like the powder in the air at the scorers table. Like, I was like, is this him sort of, in Gladiator when he touches the ground and stuff before battle? Is this kind of his move? Like he's just kind of, breathing in this dust or this ash before he's about to battle him. But I didn't feel that line was cheesy at all. Like I thought it was a cool callback that didn't pull me out of the movie at all. What did you think?
I didn't mind that there's a lot of callbacks in
Yes.
this movie, and I don't mind any of them. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
cool. Oh, cool. Because it's subtle. It's not forced.
Right. And they made their own film, and they made a really cool film. So they're not trying to traipse on that ground. They're just trying to kind of make sure the viewer is connected to it.
This dingus ass Predator is walking wide out in the open, no coverage at all, and steps its foot right into one of these dudes' traps. It screams in pain. These dudes pop off from either side holding long chains, pop out from either side holding long chains attached to the trap and cover the Predator with a net. The men celebrate a little too early because Predator whips out its retractable Wolverine claw and stabs this dude right through his chin out the top of his head. Predator gets up and starts whooping ass, shoots one full with a net, traps into this giant tree trunk. The net begins to tighten, making this dude's face bleed, and then we see the bottom of the net with like a tightener on it that keeps spinning so tight it chops this dude and the tree trunk into a tiny little billion pieces until the net closes up again into a ball. It is gnarly.
Yeah, and he's got some cool stuff. We're about to see another one that's really cool.
Predator frees his foot from a trap and throws it at this one dude, and the trap clamps onto the dude's head. This other chump starts shooting at Predator, and it opens this little bulletproof shield out of its little wrist contraption. The bullet bounces off, and these three men are standing there dumbfounded silently for a second. They look at each other and then begin the hour-long process of trying to reload another bullet in their old-timey guns. It's funny.
That was a fun little fun moment. We've had a couple little fun moments in this movie where a ton of people are about to be slaughtered, but it always cracks me up because you would hear about like these duels that took place a long time ago, and these duels would take place like sometimes over a couple days because they would just like pack the gun and shoot each other and miss, and then have to do it again, and they'd be doing it for a while, and everybody missed, and it'd be like, okay, let's gather again tomorrow, and we'll like continue. Like they were still so bad that they're going to continue the duel. Like if you and I were dueling and we went a whole day without actually hitting each other or killing the other person, I'd be like, all right, that's what, we made it. We both made it out alive. Let's move on.
We can't even meet up for a sandwich. I don't see us showing up for a duel.
the duel that never happens. Sorry, Shawn, I'm not able to duel you today. Maybe we'll try Tuesday. Oh man, I can't do it Tuesday.
I got work Tuesday. I can't. I gotta. You'd be like, I got something with the kid. I'm busy. No, there's no duel. I'm busy.
Yeah.
I'm
But
freelancing. I'm I can't.
We've seen each other a lot recently, so,
We
we've
have.
had more time to
Shout outs to
duel.
Philly. Shout outs to
Yeah.
Philly. The Predator slowly lowers its shield, ready to whoop some ass. We hear the dudes yelling and screaming in the distance, and Nadu and her bro continue to try and free themselves. Predator is just plowing through French dudes, killing everyone, lifts up one dude by his neck, pulls out a little knife. Predator looks at it like Crocodile Dundee, like, you call that a knife? And with its hand wrapped around this dude's neck, it opens its bulletproof shield out of its wrist, which also acts like a guillotine, chopping this dude's head clean off, and also the tree that he's holding him up against in half. We see Predator tilt its head a bit to the side, kind of like Michael Myers, and lets out
Mhm.
this little Predator laugh.
And this scene is very like Michael Myers, very serial killer-ish. You see him when one of the guys is hiding behind a tree, you see him in the background like stalking people. And that is such a cool device with that shield that goes right through him in the tree. That is I've not seen that before. I thought that was really, really neat.
I
But
like
he's cheating, Shawn. I mean, right now he's starting to cheat on them a little.
it's also 1 against like 50. So he probably has like more advantages. I mean, yeah, imagine if he had like 100 dudes against him. He probably has some other cooler weapons that he didn't even whip out because he didn't need them yet. But yeah, I mean, it is that cheating alien technology. Yeah. Predator walks up to this one dude who has a gun drawn. Predator stops and stands there waiting. The guy fires right at the Predator's mask, and the bullet bounces right off the mask and hits the dude back in the face.
Our third funny moment in this scene.
Nadu's telling your brother the story of a beaver who was caught in a dam and the water was rising and it knew it was going to die, so it chewed off its own leg. The French dudes are all firing at the Predator, who block all their shots and starts typing on his little forearm contraption that Vertebrae loves. Nadu was telling her brother it was worth it to the beaver removing its own leg. Her brother sees what she's doing. She has their hand and the rope holding them hovering over a trap. You think she's going to remove her hand, like the movie Saw, to get out of the trap. Her brother starts freaking out, but she hits the trap and it closes on the rope. She yanks them free. They are away from the tree. She is smarter than the beaver. Her brother laughs, tells her they got to get one of the horses that ran off. She says she'll go get the dog. Predators hopping from tree to tree, dodging all the French dudes' bullets until they all stop and turn around and hear this digital beeping. And sure as shit, in the middle of all of them, they slowly start surrounding the handy dandy Vertebrae33 wristband to get out of the party and small talk at the grocery store. The closer they get to it, the quicker it beeps. The head dude in charge knows something is wrong and backs off, but then these 3 little sharp rotating discs pop out of the wristband, and we see from above, a bird's eye view, they fly out in 3 different directions and explode, and we see the trees in that vicinity just collapse.
And Shawn, this is 1719. So we've got these devices that just hover out and hover in front of them. And these guys are just completely freaked out by this, as they should be. I mean, I would be completely freaked out about it now in 2024, let alone where it takes them 5 minutes to load their guns. This is, this is well before, you know, regular running water and plumbing and whatever and modern day conveniences, and this guy's got this wrist thing that floats these 3 devices out.
Naru sneaks back to the village to get her dog. It looks like the French dudes are about to kill her dog till she flips the script and kills them instead. She gets her axe, kills all the dudes left at the camp with it, and frees her dog. We cut the Predator. He's having a sit on a log. Bunch of dead French dudes all around him. He takes out his little cauterizer pen device, gives a little shake, warm it up, and starts sealing all of his open wounds. We cut to Nadu adding her herbs and medicines and her own ancient remedies to heal her wounds. Till up hops a French dude who managed to get away from the Predator's mass murder. He's limping because his legs ripped off. He begs Nadu for medicine to help him, and in exchange, he'll show her how to use his gun. She removes the Predator's futuristic disc device that chopped the dude's leg off, but it's still wrapped around his leg. She begins to add her blend of 16 delicious herbs and spices to this dude's decapitated leg. He's telling her how to use the gun. She gives him some of her meds, and he begins seizing up, saying he's freezing because this medicine cools the blood.
Here we go. And And that device that she pulled off, the director describes it as like almost like a slap bracelet because it extends fully and then clamps down on it. That's the
Remember
new
they
thing
banned
too.
those from school because some fucking loser like injured their wrist with it?
Oh yeah, they're banned.
Well, I mean, back in my day, in
Oh,
I think that was elementary school when we all had the slap band
mhm,
bracelets, and
yeah.
yeah, everyone had them. And then there was a point where all the teachers were taking them away because the story on the news was some kid got injured his wrist with a slap band. Yeah, I remember all that hullabaloo back in I think it was elementary school. I can't
Oh, that's
remember.
crazy. Well, I'm much older than you, so I just remember
Yes.
getting I remember getting hit with like real sticks. There weren't slap bracelets, just I'm gonna hit you with a real stick.
Yeah, you grew up in the time of Nadu.
Yeah, exactly. That was me, 17, 19. I was brushing my teeth with a root and I had my trusty dog with me, but my trusty dog and I are safely inside our shelter in our hut somewhere else. We're not
In the
here.
teepee. She hears a flock of birds take flight. She knows predator is near. She walks off with the dude's gun. He begs her to stay, but she's gone. The dude begins crawling to a tent for cover, but that second the predator comes out from behind another tent, and in a quick act of thinking, this dude with one leg quickly flips over and he plays dead. Predator's looking around at all the carnage of dead bodies and walks right over this dude. It's standing over him, but he's not glowing red because the meds cool his blood. So the Predator's heat vision isn't working. From behind a tree, Nadu is watching all this happen. She grabs a little packet of herbs, holds it tight, and says to herself, "It can't see him." However, Predator goes to walk away and steps right on this dude's leg, who jumps up and screams, and Predator takes out his Wolverine claw and slams it right through his chest.
Oops.
Another funny death in this movie.
Yeah, and we certainly get this predator vision. We've talked about it when we talked about the other films. I'm not 100%. I mean, apparently they used a real thermal camera for those scenes, just like they did in the original movie. So there's real technology around these shots. I just, I still am confused by the ability to completely cool yourself with either these herbs or the mud or a combination of both. But it happens.
Whatever works.
Yeah.
God damn it, here comes her dog, barking, runs right up to Predator, who lines up his laser sighting from his wrist device, aims a sharp arrow right at the dog's head, and he's about to get shot, and boom! Something smacks him hard right in the Predator's head, knocks its animal skull helmet off, which sets the laser sighting right against the tree Nadu's standing behind. The arrow launches and does a 180, goes right to one of the three red dots of the triangle target from behind the tree. Naru's standing horrified.
Mhm.
We see your brother got himself a horse. He just smashed the Predator in his dome, which gives us this epic face reveal. This was going to be the other milking of the alpacas moment if I wasn't going to use the bear one.
Right. It's so cool. And he has like, it's almost like hair rather than like, I mean, people would say the other things look like dreadlocks, even though they weren't. And now this one almost looks
It looks like
like,
wires or tubing.
yeah,
It,
like more,
yeah.
yeah, more like a tubing or closer to kind of hair, dare I say like Tabe's hair kind of in a way. Um, but it's really neat. And that reveal is so cool. This actor that's in this suit that they're filming these scenes with just does an amazing job in the making of. You can see him walking on set in this outfit, and it's incredible, and he can move really well in it. And yeah, we're headed into the tail end of this movie right now.
Sorry, I'm just giving my cat a treat right now. Here you go.
Oh, wait, so we could stop. Sean gives his
No,
cat a
it's okay.
treat.
It's okay. It's this disgusting looking monster. It's sort of like the original Predator, but almost older looking. It's absolutely hideous. It's this beautiful face. It lets out this loud roar and begins firing more arrows at her brother. But because of the later laser sightings on the mask, and the mask is off its head pointing at the tree, all the arrows turn around and go right back to the tree. And then the laser sighting on the mask turns off. Nadu sees all of this happen. Predator picks up his mask and puts it back on as Nadu is doing the 147 steps you need to load up the gun so it can fire one bullet. Her brother grabs a large spear. Nadu comes out from behind the tree, aims, fires, nothing. Annoyed, she just yells, "Hey!" As Predator turns to look at her, her brother jumps off the horse, launching himself in the air, and blam, throws his spear right through the Predator's chest, then quickly takes his bow and arrow, hits Predator once in the back. Predator grabs the spear in him from both ends, breaks it in half, and uses the two pieces as a weapon. Nadu continues trying to figure out this gun situation while her brother is just absolutely whooping the Predator's ass, shooting him with arrows, slicing him up. He even pulls the arrow in that he shot him with before and shoots him with it again. Fucking gnarly. Predator's had enough of getting his ass whooped and finally camouflages himself. Nadu and her brother are standing around looking, aiming, and her brother hears a branch break right behind him. And he knows it. He's done for. Nadu tells him they should leave. He tells her to run. It thinks he's the threat. Says, "This is as far as I go. No more." Tells her to bring it home. He quickly tries to turn around to strike it and snatch right through his back. Predator tracks his Wolverine claw right through his chest, lifts her brother in the air. Predator throws him on the floor and begins approaching Nadu. She's standing there aiming but doesn't fire. Predator is aiming at her, approaching slowly but not killing her. When her brother, one last time, jumps up and slams the wolf skull that's on his leg with the fangs, and he jams it right into the Predator's leg. And one last time, Predator takes his spear that was thrown through his chest and slams it right through her brother. Dead. Predator turns around and Nadu is gone.
And it seems unfair that he can take so much abuse and just keep going. Like they have the cloaking, they have all these weapons. He can take arrows and bullets and spears through them, and they just have that fantastic med kit, and it just seems a little unfair.
I agree.
Yeah.
Too much of an advantage.
Yeah.
We get shots of her cleaning the blood off herself, crying near the river. We see some other members of the tribe approach their mother to tell them the news that her son is dead. Nadu's resting by some rocks. She notices her dog at attention. He whines. She takes a look at what he's looking at, and it's the head French dude with the cigar, the one who snuck away before Predator murdered everybody. He's on the other end of the river drinking. Nadu takes aim with the gun and puts it down and whips out the Predator tool, the snappy thing that severed the guy's leg, and seems to know how to use that better than the gun. We see the French dude chugging down water, and from behind, up runs Nadu and smashes him in the face with a rock. He wakes up, we hear rats. He looks down and sees rats chewing away at his now severed leg, which she cut off using their Predator tool.
Yeah, so gross. So it reminded me of Misery a little bit, in the Misery book, that he was down in the basement in the book and the rats were crawling around him. But yeah,
check out our Misery episode from about a month and a half ago. We covered that one. Shout outs to Annie. He begins crawling to the gun. She says, "You bled my brother, so now you bleed. You think I'm not a hunter like you, that I'm not a threat. That is what makes me dangerous." And then she eats a handful of flowers that cool the blood. She tells him, "You can't see that I'm killing you." And as he's aiming the gun at her, we hear the Predator clicking in the background. She says, "And it won't either." The Predator's approaching, scanning the scene, and only sees the dude, not Nadu. It's approaching from behind and is right behind her, about to bump into her, and she shifts an inch to the left, and Predator walks right past her directly to the French dude. He aims at the Predator, pulls the trigger, but the gun clicks and nothing happens. He calls Predator a demon. He whips out his Predator spear and decapitates the dude. It goes to pick up his skull, and standing right behind him is Nadu, pointing her gun, aiming. She pulls the trigger, fires the gun right in back of the Predator's head, knocking off its mask, and while it's down in pain, she grabs the mask from off its head. Predator is still alive and lets out a loud scream.
And you know what's cool is if you jump back when she was taking the, what was it called? The orange... How did you...
Tootsie?
You got it. Tatsia? I think it was Tatsia.
Yeah.
and she goes to take that. She kind of takes some of that makeup that she has and runs it down her lip and down a line down like the center of her chin. And I wondered about that. I forgot to look that up if that was significant of something, but it's almost like getting ready for what would be her. It's her final battle that she's getting ready for right here. She's about to make her stand, but I thought that was really cool.
Cut to Nadu booby trapping the woods, sets up the predator mask in between two rocks. We see Predator following a blood trail, looks ahead of it, and sees the French dude sever a leg. And I feel at this moment it knows it's fallen into a trap.
Mm-hmm.
We get this great shot of Predator standing under a tree, and hunched in a tiny corner of the tree is Nadu hunting it. It's right under her. She runs right off the branch, jumps off the tree, lands on its back, and with her axe just starts chopping the shit out of the Predator. He throws her off. She's covered in neon green Predator blood. It takes out its spear and it's ready to kill her till up runs the dog, who jumps the Predator, causing the spear to land right next to Nadu. She makes a run for it, and the Predator is jumping from tree to tree. And Nadu runs up to a tree, does a 180, and as the Predator jumps down to the tree she was at, it hits one of her booby traps with all these large spikes, and it injures itself even more.
Mm-hmm.
She
And
makes
this scene is so beautiful. Like, it's very dark, but we're starting to get snow. So the snow is falling. It all has a bluish tint. And now we're going to add into this darkness, this green glowing predator blood, which just is a really cool visual. As this gets darker, there's more of that appearing and you can see it more, and very well done.
She makes a run for the spear, and the Predator jumps from another tree and puts its fist right through the tree, making it stuck. Nadu then goes to strike it with her spear, but it opens up its razor-sharp Predator shield to block it. And even though it blocks the spear from impaling it, it doesn't stop the Predator from moving the blocking spear, and in the process, accidentally cuts the arm off that's stuck in the tree with the razor-sharp shield on its wrist on the other arm. And I love this part. Predator backs up and looks at its severed arm in the tree and sort of lets out this defeated sigh. And
Yeah.
turns to Nadu and screams, and now the fight is on.
And she set this trap. So this is, there's lots of nods to the original film. So we had Arnold setting his trap for his final battle around some trees, and this is around this uprooted tree and this mud area that was there. And yeah, that's a cool nod that doesn't take away from this film at all.
They're whipping each other's ass till Predator slams her between two rocks on the floor and traps her with his razor sharp shield. I love this part, this weapon that we're talking about. It's slowly bringing it down on her throat, and it's cutting through stone, like it's cutting through rock, like a hot knife through butter, like so smooth, like such a badass weapon. Predator's just screaming in her face, and in a quick act of thinking, she grabs one of its gigantic fangs sticking out of its face, rips it off, and stabs him with it. She escapes from being decapitated. Predator gets up pissed and is looking around like, what the hell is happening here? It reminded me of the dude from Ex Machina, when everything just starts turning against him, and he's just like, fucking unreal.
Yeah, when he gets stabbed.
Yeah, he's got no arm. He's dripping neon green ooze all over the place. He's stabbed with his own tooth. He's getting his ass kicked. Now the two face off. We get this beautiful shot of them facing off in the snow. Make sure you check out our Ex Machina episode from the end of last year. And then her dog shows up carrying her axe. She yells at the dog and they run to each other. She slides between Predator's legs, grabs the axe from the dog. She slices the Predator in the knee, jumps on its back, and starts choking it with the rope attached to the axe. He throws her off, and with the axe still on his leg, she pulls the rope, and the Predator falls face first into the quick mud. That's when I realized, oh shit, she's back at that spot, and now she's using it as a trap.
Right.
We see some bubbles come out of the mud, thinking Predator may drown, but of course it doesn't. It's Predator. Slowly out of the muck, Predator rises. Nadu backs up into the branches she used earlier to pull herself out of the muck. And that's when I noticed, oh shit, she's backed up against the tree branches like Arnold was in the first movie when he's camouflaged. Not only that, she's repeating his lines. Come on, do it. Come on.
Yeah.
Then she says, this is as far as you go. No more. Predator aims at her with its wrist arrow. However, its mask is propped up between those rocks from earlier. And when the laser sightings shine on, they are pointed directly at the Predator's head. It fires a shot. The arrow goes whizzing past Nadu and does a 180 around the woods, comes back. And it was at this point Predator knew he fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
He turns and sees his mask, laser sighting on, pointing at his head, sort of tilts his head to the side like, well, shit. And splat right through his goddamn head, arrow to the skull. He falls dead. Nadu lets out a scream of victory.
And it's clear that right here, he didn't read the manual that came with
I
that
feel
device.
he planned this very poorly.
Yes.
How
He's
did
totally
he not
tricked.
know
Yes.
that did he forget he didn't have his mask on?
Yeah. I mean, listen, if you think of it from the way they set up this entire film, she does a lot more thinking than everyone else around her. And observes, and everything she thinks and observes, she absorbs and becomes part of her plan. And he's just acting on instinct. He's probably, like you already said, he's got part of his arm chopped off. He's got one of his, Alaskan king crab legs ripped off his face. He- he's he's in trouble, and he's not thinking straight. And I don't know where he thought that device was headed. That part is a little confusing. I have to say, of all of the movie, as beautifully done as it is, and I think Trachtenberg has even acknowledged this in interviews, that there's part of that at the ending that confuses some people. But they had to, just like the rest of them, they had to get there somehow, just like putting the mud on them and covers them and they can't see him, or she's eating these herbs and, he can't, lowering her body temp. We had to get there somehow, and it was certainly a creative way to do it. But yeah, I don't think he read the manual when he got that and understood kind of how that worked. Yeah.
He's like, they just dropped me off on this goddamn planet. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Imagine, like, he's just mad and bitter about the whole thing. He's like not in to be a predator. He doesn't want to do this. He just wants to sit on the couch and watch Beavis and Butthead Predator and
Yeah.
eat
Yeah.
cheese doodles. Yeah. And drink
Yeah.
his snack pack. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand. They said they were sending Ted this time. Why do I have to go? He's just home. Ted's just home hanging out, and I gotta go and fight people. Come on, man. I don't want to do this. But yeah, I always wondered if this was a rite of passage for them to become like a leader of their tribe or something. If they can go to a different planet and accomplish something, they come back and they're, big leader. Because you can't help but think that culture, like any culture, fights amongst itself too, and kind of hones its skills amongst its own creatures, and then shows up on other planets. But yeah, I think he just was knocked around so much and didn't anticipate any of this that he just makes a really poor decision.
Back at her village, we see Nadu approaching with a dog carrying this giant predator head, neon green blood dripping all over the place. She approaches the leader of the tribe who welcomed her brother when he returned with the lion earlier. Nadu throws the predator head at his feet. Not only that, she hands the tribe leader the gun. And it's at this point I notice, oh shit, it's the same gun that Danny Glover was handed at the end of Predator 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very cool.
She tells them danger is nearby. We need to move to more protected ground. Danger? You just killed the predator. What do you mean?
Yeah, I wonder if she meant just the traders, the fur traders. Although they were wiped out, there were certainly more of them coming. Does she know that there'd be more of these creatures?
I think she references what happens shortly, but we just don't see it until the end.
Right.
The tribes people all begin chanting, celebrating Nadu's victorious big hunt. We get the great shot of her with the neon green predator blood under her eyes like a football player. We see her looking down at another young girl in the tribe, letting her know she can be a warrior as well. Her dog sits by her side, lets out a bark in celebration. The end. What a happy ending.
Yeah, it's awesome.
But wait, there's more.
Yeah.
The ending credits I love. They're
Beautiful.
super cool. It's like an art depiction telling the story of Nadu's journey in this like Native American style art showing everything that we've seen take place. However, at the end, we see something happen that wasn't in the movie, and I believe is what Nadu was just referencing as danger nearby. Because we see the final scene with Nadu and the Predator's head on the floor. Tribes people are around her, and they all turn and point at the sky, which turns black. Lightning begins crashing, and ships emerge from the clouds. The end for real this time.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, phenomenal movie. There's been talk of a sequel.
Love it. Love it.
I would love there to be a sequel, only if there can be as much thought put into the storytelling as this. I wouldn't want a continuation of this if it's just going to be ramped up fighting scenes with her. Like, this is her hero's journey, her arc. We get that. So we're going to have to attack that in a different way to make it more unique in a sequel. It's almost like part of me would rather not have a sequel, although I want to see her again and see a continuation. But this one's kind of hard to live up to. It's funny, at the end you said, she looked at the little girl like you could be whatever you want to be. And I was thinking, when you said that, I was thinking, I'd be one of the guys in the tribe that was like, fantastic. Then, like, I'll go pick the herbs and you can
kill
go
this
fight
predator.
the lions. That's great. Let's flip flop. You can go. That's awesome. But yeah, when I teased it in the first episode when we were going through this, listen, you don't get this lore without Predator. You don't get the basis of all of this without the original. That being said, I think this is my favorite Predator film.
Wow, better than the original.
And now the original has to exist, but I enjoy watching this more, and I think it's handled in a way that kind of fits my aesthetic a little bit more, the way it's filmed, the way it's scored, and not taking anything away from Alan Silvestri's phenomenal score for Predator, but I just think it kind of fits kind of where I'm at now more in life. Maybe it'll hit me different later on, but I'm certainly not going to rank, because it's hard, right? You need this foundation of Predator to build on to get this movie. But yeah, I love this movie, and now I've got a newfound love watching it in Comanche. I think everyone should try to watch it that way. They recorded all of the dialogue in Comanche, so they shot it, they spoke English, and then they went back and re-recorded all of it in Comanche. And I think that it's a really, once you know the movie and you see it like that, it just adds kind of an extra layer to it. I have the 4K, I have the vinyl. There is no book, there is no making of. I wish there was a making of book, or a novelization would be really cool. I want to know more of this time period for sure. But this, my friends, is how you make another movie in a series of films. You add your own ingredients to it to have it make sense and give us a different take.
Remember when you let the dogs off the leash a couple episodes ago when we talked about the Crow trailer?
Yeah, this is, and listen, we haven't seen the Crow remake, and you may listen to this episode 2 years from now and be like, man, what were they was talking about? That Crow remake was the most amazing movie I've ever seen. Maybe it could be, but this is now in 2024 is how you do one of these films correctly. You've got your nods. It's not a whole giant nod to the original. You build on it, and then you add this whole other piece to it, this whole different culture, this whole lifestyle, this whole time period, and that just makes it even more enjoyable, because you become just as fascinated, at least I did, with how they live and how their society is, and it's really very interesting. And I would say in a lot of ways, like, hard to research a movie like this, because I don't know that the Comanche culture wrote a lot down. So a lot of this stuff that they do has to be just handed down verbally to other people. It's not stuff that you could just readily Google and figure out. You have to have experts who worked on this film with you to get this done. There was another consultant, Juanita, and I'm going to butcher her last name, so I'm not going to say it. And unfortunately, she passed away before the film was released and kind of early into the production. but she was a renowned Comanche educator, a poet, an artist, and she consulted on this film very early on to make sure that they were getting that stuff genuine and correct, and that adds a weight to it for sure. But I won't ask you where you rank it because I'm not crazy about rankings, but in thinking about it, at least where I am in 2024, Prey is my favorite film in the series.
I'd say it's my second favorite. I'd say it's the
Right.
original, and then Prey, definitely.
Yeah.
Um,
Awesome.
So, what did you think of this movie? If you saw this movie, if you did not see this movie and only saw this movie because myself and Vertebrae discussed it on episode 27 of In Madness Pod, let us know on the socials at In Madness Pod, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Threads. Hit us in the mail sack. In the next episode, we will be diving into the mail sack, a little inside baseball. This wraps up our Predator theme. Rest in peace, Carl Weathers, which is the whole reason we did this to begin with. But also we recognize that it's been like 2 months of straight Predator on In Madness Pod. And if you're not a Predator fan, then maybe you slipped out of touch with what we're doing. So instead of, we were going to highlight more Predator movies in the next 0.5, but I watched them both, the ones that we were going to do, and I really didn't particularly care for either of them. And I'd rather not just do a 2 episode or a 2 movie episode about 2 movies that I really didn't particularly care for. I know you saw one of them and have not finished the other
Yeah,
one.
I saw Predators and I liked it. It didn't blow me away. There's some cool parts in it. There's certainly a lot of nods to the original film in there as well. Um, and full disclosure, I started to watch The Predator and I fell asleep. So
I was on every streaming service, and then I went to watch it for our 0.5, and it wasn't anywhere. So I rented it and I watched it, and I'm like, I saw this in the movies and I didn't like it then, and I'm watching it here for the podcast now, and I don't like it now. So I'm like, why don't we just shit can the Predator thing? We've hit the 3 movies that we like, or that I particularly love: Predator, Predator 2, and Prey. I think we're good with our Predator theme. But for our next episode, for our 0.5, we're going to talk some shit like we do on every 0.5, where we don't focus particularly on a film, except for the 1.5 where we did that for Predator 2. But we're just going to pick some things we want to talk about, but also dive into the mail sack. If you want to get your thoughts on any of the movies we have discussed or anything we discuss in any of the 0.5s, when we're just shooting the shit back and forth, email us inmadnesspod@gmail.com. You can also watch this podcast on YouTube, In Madness Pod. Give us the 5-star reviews, hit that like button, check out the In Madness Spotify playlist where we have like 4+ hours of music. Everything is available in the link in the description of this episode, which I also need to add some of these other cool things. We want you to tell everyone you know about this podcast. Spread the madness worldwide. The other link I now need to start adding to every YouTube video, and I think we need to start adding to every audio episode: inmadness.com. If you want to get your In Madness t-shirts, brand spanking ass new, they still smell fresh as a daisy. We got shirts. It's been over a year. If you haven't been put on to everything we're doing, check out inmadness.com. You could pick up some shirts. I can't wait to have one within my grasp. And yeah, like Vertebrae said, when you get your shirts, take a picture. We want to see it. Support the In Madness family. We're out here loving movies and loving art and loving music, and anything that we want to love, that we want to talk about, or that you want to talk about, we want you included in the conversation as well. Yeah, it just,
And Shawn, you mentioned us being on YouTube and everything, and if you tune in on YouTube, you can see Shawn very clearly, looking very cool in his setup, and I'm receding into the darkness. You can barely see me hiding behind this giant pop filter here.
Batman. He's
But
Batman.
I was thinking, I was like, Shawn is so cool that he doesn't need the herbs or the mud to cool himself down so Predator wouldn't see him. He's so cool that he could just stride right by the Predator.
No way. I have
and
herbs.
he would, and
I
he
have
wouldn't even
herbs that
notice.
cool my blood.
He wouldn't even notice he was
how
there.
I would get past Predator. This is how I would get. I would have the peace pipe, right? And I do the thing, and I make a puff out, and all that smoke that you saw in the forest. That'd be
Yeah.
Predator, and he'd just be like, "What?" And his vision would be, it'd be like Predator 2 when they tried to use those like chemicals with their stupid spacesuits, and he'd be like, "What is all this dank smelling deliciousness?" And then me and Predator would just
Oh,
be there sitting on a stump, chilling. And he'd pop out his little wrist thing, and we'd be laughing. I'd be like, "No, stop hitting the wrist thing. I know what
yeah.
you're gonna do. I know you, Predator."
He would hit it, and it would start like playing some like Cypress Hill would just start
Yeah,
playing.
a little pipe would come out. That'd be so the little Predator bong, and just like,
That's
cool.
That's the ending that nobody expected in the theater. There were boos. People were getting up and
Oh,
leaving the theater, but
man.
Shawn made it. But I appreciate everyone listening to us. Please share it with your friends. Send in, like Shawn said, send in mail, send in comments on social media. We pay attention to all of it. Tell us what movies you'd like us to talk about. We have almost a clean slate ahead of us. We have lists, but we're open to suggestions, and it's exciting if people participate in this. It helps us, and we're excited to have merch. And everyone who's listening, we always appreciate it. Thank you for taking this ride with us through the Predator. Does the Predator universe have a name? Is it like the Predaverse?
The Predator verse, sure.
Predaverse, something. But
They both sound pretty perverted.
yeah, a little weird, but awesome. And if there's a Prey 2 and they drop Prey 2 on Hulu, we'll talk about it the day after it drops. If they drop it in the theater, then we're going to talk about it 6 months later when I actually see it. But
As long as they don't drop it on Disney Plus.
no, don't worry. Well, they will. It's Hulu. It's part of Disney Plus. So
I gotta get the bundle plan. I don't have the bundle plan. I'm working on the Grundle plan right now.
there you go. Awesome. Thank you guys very much. We'll see you soon.
Episode 27.5 up next in Madness Pod. See you next week.